In a quiet hospital, the silent corridors were lit only by dim night lights. Nurse Anna moved between the rooms, her steps light on the shiny tiles. The night shift was almost over and she couldn't wait to go home. The hum of the medical machines was the only sound that accompanied her walk, creating a monotonous background that almost reassured her. But when she passed in front of room 11, something made her stop suddenly. Before continuing, subscribe to our channel and activate the bell. In the bed lay Thomas, a patient who had been in a coma for a few months. Anna knew him well. He was one of those constant faces in the ward, always still, always silent. But that evening there was something different. His right hand, usually relaxed and inert, was clutching a crumpled piece of paper, a detail she would never have imagined seeing. Her curiosity got the better of her. Anna approached the bed, hesitantly. "Strange," she muttered under her breath. Coma patients rarely moved, much less held anything. Very gently, she tried to remove the paper from the gentleman's fingers, taking care not to disturb the medical equipment surrounding him. When she finally managed to free the paper, she realized that it was a sealed envelope. To her surprise, she noticed her name written on it in shaky but clearly legible handwriting. Anna remained still for a few moments, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew that, in cases like this, she would have to inform her superiors. But something inside her told her that the letter was meant only for her. In a quick and almost instinctive gesture, she slipped the envelope into the pocket of her lab coat, feeling a slight sense of guilt mixed with curiosity. The rest of the shift passed in a mix of confused thoughts. Anna couldn't take her mind off that envelope. What secret could it contain? Why would Mr. Thomas write to her? When her shift finally ended, she rushed home, her heart still pounding. Arriving at her small apartment, she sat down at the kitchen table, the envelope still in her hands. With shaking fingers, she broke the seal and pulled out a folded piece of paper. She began to read, her breathing quickening with each word. "Dear Anna," the letter began. "If you're reading this, it means I'm probably still in a coma or worse. My name is Thomas, and I have something important to tell you. I'm your grandfather." Anna's hands began to shake. Her grandfather? It couldn't be. Her parents had died when she was very young, and no one had ever told her about a man named Thomas. Raised by her aunt and uncle, she had always believed she had no other relatives. And yet, that letter was there, in her hands, with the confession of a man who claimed to be her grandfather. The letter continued, describing details of life, of her parents, details that Anna had never known. Thomas spoke of an accident that had taken them away prematurely, and how he had been unable to take care of her, leaving her with her aunt and uncle. He admitted that the decision to leave her had been the hardest of his life, but that at the time he had believed it was the best thing for her. Anna leaned back in her chair, her heart pounding. Was it possible that the man she had cared for months, knowing nothing of their connection, was really her grandfather? And why had her uncles never told her? Anger began to grow along with confusion. She needed answers, and she knew the only way to get them was to face the past. The next day, she decided to call her Aunt Elena, the only person who could help her put the missing pieces together. In a tense voice, she asked, "Hi, Aunt. Do you know a man named Thomas?" There was a long silence on the other end of the line. "Why do you ask?" Elena replied, her voice slightly nervous. Anna explained about the letter and the fact that the man, a patient in a coma, had claimed to be her grandfather. The silence that followed was tense. Then Elena sighed. "Yes, he is your grandfather. We never told you about it because we thought it was better that way. Your parents and he had a falling out many years ago, and they never spoke again." Anna felt like the ground beneath her was crumbling. "Why didn't you tell me? After my parents died, I deserved to know," she cried, her voice cracking with frustration. "We thought you were too young to deal with another heartbreak," her aunt said calmly. "We wanted to protect you. It was a complicated story, and we didn't think you'd need to know." Anna ended the call, even more confused and angry. Her aunt and uncle had raised her, yes, but they had hidden a big part of her life from her. She needed answers, and the only way to get them was to go back to Mr. Thomas. Even though she was in a coma, she felt like there had to be a way to reach him. So, in the days that followed, Anna visited that room every day. She talked to him, told him about her life, what she had discovered, and read aloud the letter he had written her. It was a routine that gave her a strange peace, even though she knew that perhaps she would never have the answers she was looking for. Then, one evening, something unexpected happened. As she read, she noticed a slight movement of Mr. Thomas's fingers. Her heart thumped in her chest. Her eyelids fluttered, and slowly, she opened her eyes. "Thomas, can you hear me?" Anna whispered, her voice shaking. The man nodded weakly, his eyes filled with confusion, but also recognition. "Anna, is that you?" His voice was weak, but there was deep emotion in it. A tear rolled down his cheek. "Yes, it's me," Anna said, taking his hand. "I read your letter. I want to understand everything." In the days that followed, as Thomas recovered his strength, the two began to talk about the past. Thomas spoke of his breakup with Anna's mother, of his pride that had distanced him from his family. He confessed his regrets, admitting that he had wasted too many years because of his bad temper and bad choices. "I lost everything," he said one day, his voice breaking with emotion. "I lost my daughter, my son-in-law, and I almost lost you." Anna listened to him, trying to absorb it all. It was painful, but liberating at the same time. Talking to him helped her understand her past and slowly heal the wounds she had carried inside her for so long. One day, when Thomas was able to stand up, they decided to visit the old family home together. Every corner, every photograph revealed new details. Anna began to piece together the history of her family, a history that had been hidden from her for too long. It wasn't just about uncovering the past, but finding peace with it. As Anna pushed Thomas in his wheelchair down a tree-lined avenue, Thomas said to her, "Anna, I can't change what happened, but I want to be a part of your life now, if you'll accept me." Anna, tears in her eyes, took his hand. "I'd love to," she said with a sweet smile. And so, under the golden sky of the sunset, grandfather and grandson prepared to write a new chapter of their story, leaving behind the regrets of the past, but taking with them the lessons learned. The future was still uncertain, but Anna knew that, for the first time, she would not have to face it alone. Did you like this story? Leave a comment below. Thanks for watching the video till the end, and see you next story.